Okay, for the tutorial, I'm going to start off with what I usually start off with, which would be the skin. And I like to set scan itself to linear burn, just because it's easier for me to clean things up when I do it this way. And then I just put layers underneath, and try to make this scan look like me in real life. So that means not brown hair, we're not doing hair yet, skin. Light, peachy skin. You're going to want to go for like an orange shade, like a reddish orange, and then go lighter. You can use the little swatch panel and pick one out and adjust it, but I prefer just to fiddle around. Just leave that on normal, or if you're gonna leave the manga layer normal, put everything on top of it on either multiply or linear burn. Or if you're going to do it like I am, you're just going to leave all the layers normal while you leave the manga on multiplier. So you can either outline this now, like I'll outline all the skin now, and then do the shading kind of messily and then clean it up by using the magic wand tool over here, magic wand tool, with different tolerances outside, and just delete everything but what's on the skin, your base layer skin. I prefer just to go outside the lines right away and clean it up later. It's really not that hard. Takes, 2 minutes? Unless you have a giant picture. I mean, you're only outlining the skin. Anyway, now that you have the base color down, there's a couple ways you can color. Shade. You can either do everything on this layer, and you can use a burn tool. I'd say use it on midtones and highlights. Midtones for just about everywhere, and highlights for where you'd have a really dark, like shadow, like under her chin, right there. Hopefully I have a little thingy on that'll show you. You need to use midtones for now, and you can figure out, okay, since her arm is on the tub, the bottom of the arm would have a bit of a shadow. You should go over that a few times. And the water, I think we give a bit of a shadow to that knee. Under the armpit is always going to have some shadowing. You can just start again and make different degrees of shadows, between the boobs. I love saying boobs, it sounds so amusing. The only problem with this is you can't clean it up very well easy afterwards. So let me go in my history. If you're going to do it that way, you're also going to want to use the dodge tool on midtones for just regular highlighting. And highlights if you want a really, really light part there. That's kind of blind. But the way I do it is I just go in and I either draw it on with the brush tool on a new layer, or polygon lasso it and then fill it in. But there's two different ways you can do it. You can either select the darker shade and just go over on normal again, because it is a darker shade. This is great if if you're really professional about the way you do stuff. Like, there you go. I'm going to extend that shadow a little bit. You could also put that on multiply, linear burn, possibly use color burn depending on the shadow you need. But what I like to do is, let me make a new layer, use black, and put that on either soft light or overlay. And see how it gives you just the right tone. And now I'm just going to go around and shade. And once you get a hang of it, just put yourself in the same position. Some are going to be more obvious because there's already some shading on the picture, but think of it this way. Nothing is flat in the picture. Everything is going to have some dimension to it. So everything is going to have a highlight on one part and then a shadow on the other part. So it's either going to be a soft shadow on either side for more of a cylinder. So if I want to make this arm cylindrical, I'll do a shadow on the top and bottom, or you'll put like a shadow down here and then a highlight up on top. Alright, so I'm just gonna go do shadows now. Okay, I didn't spend very much time on the shadows, but you get the idea. If you want to deepen the shadows, make another layer, black, or just another darker color, soft light or overlay, normal, multiply, linear burn, depending on what you're using. And then, to smooth it out, blur, the G blur that I cannot pronounce that you should be familiar with if you watch my tutorials. Just mess around with the numbers until you get something you like. The bigger the pick, the more blurring you're going to need. I'm going to go about 4 because I want this really, really soft looking. So then if you need to touch something up, try to use a fluffy brush. Okay, now for highlighting the skin, you're going to either want to pick out a skin color. Wrong layer. There we go. Skin color, and just use a lighter version on normal, overlay or soft light, or you just use plain old white on overlay or soft. I would suggest soft light just because you don't want extreme highlights unless you want to be really, really shiny, which you might, because this one's going to be the bathtub picture, so I might want that, but I like to start off with soft light. And just think with it, yet again, nothing is flat, so this knee, I have the shadow on the bottom, so there's going to be a highlight at the top of this knee. You know, there's a shadow on that part of the arm, so there's going to be a highlight on top of the arm. Jawline is usually going to have some highlights as well. Kind of make a little space, chin, continue the rest of the jaw. On the opposite side of shadows. Like, oops, there's a shadow on this side of the boob. So we're going to put a highlight there, and a highlight over here, highlight here, and I'm just going to continue doing highlights. Okay, I didn't spend that much time doing the highlights, but yet again, just blur it with the G blur. And zoom out and you can see what that looks like without highlights and with highlights. And that's on soft light. If you put them on overlay, obviously they're going to be a whole lot more intense.